Hey guys, before we get started, I wanted to say thank you on the support on the last video for the review of the DJI Osmo Pocket. If you haven't viewed it, you can check it out here. But this one is the follow-up for the waterproof housing on the DJI Osmo Pocket. And I took this as my main camera to the Bahamas, and I wanted to see and share how it did. So let's check it out. All right, let's get some basic info out of the way. So originally, when the Osmo Pocket was released, there was going to be a waterproof housing that was going to be with it, but that design had issues where it would really fog up when you're using it underwater. And so they had to go back to the drawing board, and this is what they came up with. I think it looks a lot better than the original design. And because there's a delay, the third-party manufacturers picked up the original design and tweaked it up themselves, and you can buy those today. They range from around $20 to around $50, but they had the similar issues of fogging up, but also a lot more reports of water actually getting into the housing. So I would stay away from the third-party ones. I don't really know how well they perform. I went with the first-party one for my trip to the Bahamas, and I paid about $50 on Amazon when I purchased it. And it retails for $60, but it regularly goes on sale for about $50. And it's rated to go about 60 meters underwater, which is plenty if you're looking to go to the Bahamas or go underwater or take it to the pool. You'll be fine. And it comes with 3 of these anti-fog sheets, which was one of the main things that they updated about this product compared to the previous design. So yeah. All right, let's take a look at some sample footage. I want you guys to note how clear it is, but also how you don't notice the front element, which is really strong. And oddly enough, the sound quality while the Osmo is underwater and inside the case is still really good, and you can understand what a lot of people are saying. I didn't really think that would happen since it's in a airtight enclosed space, but the audio is really good. And so let's take a look. All right, let's start with build quality. So before the cruise, I did put this on a test. So I took the casing and I put a paper towel inside of it, and I threw it inside a fish tank and I let it sit for about 10 minutes. And it was a success. There was no water on the paper towel, so I trusted putting my $300 camera inside this little housing unit. But I will say, initially, when you put the item underwater, even if you tighten up this gasket here, you will see bubbles come through. And it is a bit alarming, but from what I can see, no water's actually going through. It might be just like caught air or something along those lines. Other than that, what you would expect from the build quality is really good. The buttons are really squishy and they're tactile though, so you know you're pressing the buttons and they work underwater, which is great. All right, so before we move on, I wanted to talk about a few things about the actual case. So one of the things I wanted to highlight was just how large this thing is and kind of how cumbersome it is to actually bring this thing around. With this large bulb and then where the Osmo Pocket lies, it is really difficult to just chuck this into a backpack. It's kind of an awkward shape. And also, you can't just throw this in with your other Osmo Pocket accessories. So what I ended up doing was, if I knew I was going to go in the water, I would put the Osmo Pocket preemptively inside the case and then just chuck the case inside my backpack. But that meant that I didn't have all my accessories like these. So I either brought this or I brought this, and it kind of made a decision for those. And another thing quickly to note is you're not able to use any accessories while using the Osmo Pocket in the waterproof casing, which kind of sucks. But the main thing that I really wanted to discuss was how difficult and how different it is to shoot with this thing, just because of the angle that the case chose to shoot. I don't know if that was one of the main design changes, but it is a little bit awkward. So I'll demonstrate. So when you're regularly shooting with the Osmo Pocket, you hold it straight up and the camera is at a 90-degree angle. And so it's shooting straight ahead and you have a clear image on the little screen here and you clearly know what you're doing. But with this at a 45-degree angle, you can't see the screen as well, and I'll show you. So this is what the Osmo Pocket looks like normally. And so at a 45-degree angle, you can clearly see the little screen and you can clearly see what needs to be is in focus and what you're shooting. But with the case here, because at the 45-degree angle, you're shooting it at this angle, and so the screen is obscured and it's really difficult to see, and it's even worse when you're underwater. Okay, so let's talk about how to actually get the Osmo inside the case in the correct way. So make sure that your Osmo Pocket is updated so that you have the waterproof casing mode. So once you have it updated, you can go in and then swipe from the top down to get to the settings, and then go all the way to the right, and you'll get to the waterproof casing. So tap on it, and then it'll tell you to turn it off. And the next time you turn it on, it'll be in the right configuration so that when you put it in the case, it's in the right angle. So hit off, and then you can get the case ready. All right, so to get the case ready, you just have to take this bulb part off the case, and this is how you put it inside the case. So once you have that off, you can pull off this collar part, and then you need to grab your Osmo Pocket with the anti-fog sheet, which is really important, and you put it on the back here. And then once you have that set up, you can put it inside the case as such. So it is really tight with the anti-fog sheet, which is one of my main complaints for the device. But once it's in there, it is in there. So there you go. And then once that's all set, you can put back the collar and then the bulb. And you are all set and ready to go. Once that's on, make sure it's tight. It has the anti-clicking thing so you don't mess that up. And once it's in there, you turn it on and the Osmo will be in the correct orientation so that you can go out there and film. Perfect. All right, so who do I think this is for? Well, it's certainly being sold as a GoPro alternative, especially if you already have a DJI Osmo Pocket. But other than that, I think it is still the best stabilized footage that you can get of kids going in water. And with that said, for me, I used it specifically for my nieces and nephews when they went into hotel pools, oceans, cruise pools, or water parks. And so the main thing you need to know is that it's not actually an action camera, and who I think this is actually for is parents and grandparents that want the easiest way to get great footage of their kids. And with the waterproof housing, that means you can just take it in the water. Okay, so cons. The glaring issue is that it's being sold as an action camera with the GoPro attachments on the actual case itself. So the real issue is that it's physically not the same as an action camera. And so what that leads to is when you're using these attachment points, you may get footage that is different than what you're expecting. For us, and probably for you as well, you may be looking into this product specifically for snorkeling. So we got the equipment and it had these awesome GoPro attachment points at the top, and we thought, cool, we can use the Osmo Pocket and we'll get some awesome stabilized footage of us snorkeling with the fishes in the Bahamas. So we filmed it, we filmed a ton, and we were excited to see the footage, and we thought it was going to be super amazing like you see on the commercials for the Bahamas. But we looked them back and the footage was okay, and it was stable and it was easy to follow, but it wasn't wide enough to see everything that was going on. And so we were really disappointed on how that performed. And so you need to know when you're using the GoPro mounting points, it's for the GoPro focal length. And that's a huge issue especially for the Osmo Pocket, because of how tight it is. And this case doesn't fix that issue. It just allows you to get disappointed when you use those focal lengths. My best advice would be to handhold this as much as possible. This way you understand what footage you're getting and you can frame it the best way possible, as opposed to putting it on a helmet or attachment point and not really know what footage you're actually getting. Okay, so another issue that I had with the waterproof housing was the anti-fog sheets. These things go on the back of the Osmo Pocket when you're putting it inside the waterproof housing, and it makes it really tight. And whether or not you're pulling it in or you're putting it out, it feels like it might break, and you're putting a lot of pressure on the actual gimbal part of the Osmo Pocket. And with all the moving parts on it, it feels like it's one of the most fragile parts. And so it feels like it might break. And I haven't had any issues so far. It doesn't look like I damaged anything. It just feels really bad putting it inside or pulling it out. And I hope if there's a second iteration that they remove the need for this, that they have some kind of way to make sure that the glass portion of the waterproof housing doesn't fog when you're using it underwater, or they have a dedicated slot for the anti-fog sheet so that you're not putting so much pressure on the Osmo Pocket when you're putting it in. Well, do I recommend it? If you're going into water and you want to film your kids, then this is perfect. I think you should just buy it on Amazon right now. But if you want an action camera and you already have the Osmo Pocket, this is a decent choice as long as you know the limitations of the Osmo Pocket and you're not expecting to be getting action camera footage with it. Honestly, if you're going on vacation like I did, or your family's near water a lot, this is a great choice. You're gonna get great footage, and I couldn't recommend it enough. For my needs, it gets the job done, but I know I won't be using it that often just because of the size and the fact that I won't be around water that often. But it's nice to know that if I am around water, I am able to still use it. So I would recommend it if you already have the Osmo Pocket. It's not a bad idea to have it just in case. But if you are going on vacation, I think you should definitely get it because I think you will use it. And it's a great choice. Yeah. Thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, you can drop us a like. And if you love the video, consider subscribing so you can see our newest videos. You can also check out some of our older videos here. That's it, guys. Peace.